kinds of shit that whole game.
remember
Correct or
doing that?
incorrect?
You're
You're trying to get in his head. You feel like you can break LeBron at this point
We broke LeBron.
in Game 5.
So get your ass out of here with that, all right? You understand how you got the Cleveland, how you got the Miami bill? You remember
That's
that?
true. You broke him in
Okay, so
2010.
remember that, all right?
Fair
so
enough.
stop bringing that up, all right?
Fair enough.
So they was talking shit to him, okay? The media. And the league knew that they had an agenda in which we wasn't part of the agenda. You understand? Right. And that's how they ended up winning that series. Yeah, I said it.
Kevin Garnett just came out swinging at LeBron James, straight up claiming he is mentally checked out when pressure hits. And the wild part? This has not fully exploded across the media yet, but it is coming, fast. This is not some random talking head in a comfy chair who never even stepped on a professional court. This is Kevin Garnett, a man who treated every single game like it was life or death. We are talking about a Hall of Famer who made grown men uneasy just by staring them down during warm-ups. A player who turned being locked in into his entire identity. In 2026, he looked right into the camera and said exactly what people around the league have been whispering for years but never dared say out loud. So, before this story takes over every platform and everyone starts picking sides, we need to break down exactly what was said, why it matters, and why this is the most uncomfortable reality LeBron James has ever faced. Play off the ball. If they do not have it in their hands, they are totally lost. They are just standing around. Look, I have nothing against the younger generation, but it is all starting to look exactly the same after a while. You hear me? It is like watching a high school showcase game. I was just waiting for someone to come down court and really get into their bag. You know what I mean? Look, I am going to get into this, but my real issue with these young athletes today is, well, just listen. Your bag is just not that deep. Here is something casual fans often miss about KG. He is not chasing clout or jumping on interviews to trend online. When Garnett speaks, he means it and does not care how people react. So, in 2026, when the conversation shifted toward LeBron and legacy, nobody in that room was truly prepared for what he said next. KG was not loud, he was not heated or erratic. He was steady, almost too calm. Like a surgeon performing a clean, sharp, precise operation. Honestly, that hit harder than any loud sports debate. He started explaining what separates elite players from the rest. Not skill, but the mental edge. According to KG, the real difference shows up when everything is on the line. Then he paused. That silence mattered because Garnett only stops to drop a serious truth bomb. He got me so good one time during a game where I played terribly. He called me a mama's boy. Oh my God. And that is on top of everything. Forget the cursing or the constant back and forth trash talk. He said, "Wait, you do not want this, man. You are a mama's boy." And I was just stunned. My mind was gone. I only scored 5 points. To understand why this carries weight, you have to know who KG is. He played with an intensity that rattled opponents. Practice felt tougher than real playoff games with him. There was no off switch, no chill, no half speed. Mental toughness was not just part of his game, it was his core identity. Garnett never stays quiet. He has always called out players who vanish in big moments. He talks about players who demand the ball versus those who fade away. He is always ready for uncomfortable truths, but 2026 feels totally different. This moment hits differently because of the person involved. LeBron James has always had an untouchable aura because his Hall of Fame resume is massive. Longevity. Stats. Power. He built an untouchable wall. Now, that wall is starting to crack and Garnett just pointed straight at it. You could always criticize LeBron James, but former elite legends, the ones who lived through that pressure, they usually stayed silent about King James. They did not cross that line. But KG? He walked right through it like it never existed, and now the entire basketball world is trying to catch up. So, here is exactly what Garnett said. Listen closely, because every single word hits. There are moments in this game where you need a man to be mentally alive. I see people who are just mentally gone when the game is on the line. He wasn't yelling when he said it. The delivery was quiet, but hit like a ton of bricks. Check this out. Kevin Garnett didn't drop LeBron's name immediately, but the context was crystal clear. They were already discussing the king, and everyone in that room knew who he was aiming at. KG didn't flinch, didn't backpedal, and definitely didn't try to soften the blow later. He just let the words hang there. Then a reporter pushed him, asking point blank if he was talking about LeBron James. KG smirked at them and simply said, "I'm just calling what I see." You can apply that truth to whoever fits the bill. That specific moment is catching fire across social media. This clip is about to be all over your feed. That line will be used in every sports debate and podcast, and the storm hasn't even fully reached its peak yet. But hold on, because what KG said after that is what truly raised the stakes. He went beyond just saying mentally dead. He dissected the idea. He noted that being mentally checked out doesn't always mean playing poorly. Sometimes it just means you are playing it safe. It's choosing the easy pass over the hard drive. It's fading into the background when you should be taking control. It's about letting the pressure run you instead of you running the show. That's when fans started putting two and two together. But this story gets even more intense from here. When KG's comments first started leaking in early 2026, the world stayed silent. No word from LeBron's camp, no press release, no social media post, and not even a cryptic interview response. Total radio silence. Now, many people assume that's just being smart. Ignore the noise, don't feed the fire, don't give the critics any oxygen. LeBron has been a pro long enough to know that silence can be a power move. But this time around, plenty of people are starting to get suspicious. Sources close to the situation, speaking off the record, say this particular silence feels very different. It doesn't feel like a plan. It feels like KG's jab actually hit a nerve. The comment cut deeper than anyone anticipated, and the usual PR machine just stalled out. Now, that lack of response is becoming the headline. When someone like KG, a fellow champion and peer who fought for every ounce of respect, speaks that bluntly, the basketball world expects a counterpunch, a firm denial, or some kind of pushback to clear the air. Instead, there was only quiet, and that quiet began to shift the whole narrative. Old teammates started whispering behind closed doors. Analysts who usually defend LeBron blindly started picking their words with a lot more caution. The conversation changed from KG is tripping to wait. Why would he say something like that? That shift happened way faster than most people expected. But let's keep it real for a minute. LeBron's fans are definitely going to revolt, and they have plenty of evidence to back it up. Looking at the box scores and his playoff resume, LeBron James has authored some of the most legendary highlights in NBA history. He's dragged rosters that had no business being in the finals all the way to the championship finish line. The counting stats and the rings are undeniable, which is exactly why Garnett's take makes things so messy. All those accolades and legendary moments, they're carved in stone, no doubt about it. But this is where the conversation gets thorny. See, KG isn't talking about the record books. He's targeting something internal, something you'll never find by looking at a spreadsheet. He's pointing at those tiny windows in high-stakes games where a star's spirit either takes the lead or starts to back away. That's the area KG is dissecting, and that's why it stings. If we're being honest with ourselves, without being fans or haters, just objective, just watching the game for what it's worth, LeBron has had games where something felt off. Moments where that killer instinct and dominant energy he brings every night suddenly vanishes, and you can't blame it on the defense, the scheme, or even just being tired. Those lapses are real. They are on tape for everyone to see. And Kevin Garnett, a man who never let the pressure break his spirit, is shining a light on those specific plays. This doesn't take away from LeBron's legacy, not even close. But it also means you can't just ignore what KG said. What's happening here is a rare, honest look at LeBron's career, and it isn't coming from some talking head or an internet troll. It's coming from a Hall of Fame legend who knows exactly what it takes to win. And he's stating clearly that in the biggest moments, he doesn't see that same mental toughness in LeBron. This is the part that lingers. KG's words hit harder than some random social media post or sports column. They carry real weight because the big ticket lived every second of it. He was right there in those brutal, high-stakes battles where every single play matters. He understands that exhaustion when your body is screaming to quit, but your mind forces you to keep grinding regardless. Garnett has survived elimination games where one mistake ruins a whole season. Drawing from that deep experience, he is now pointing out a major flaw he sees in LeBron James. This isn't noise. This isn't just empty talk. That is a heavyweight observation from a legend who has seen it all. Now in 2026, as LeBron approaches the finish line and legacy debates explode, KG's harsh words won't just fade away with the news cycle. They stick. They have become a permanent part of the basketball conversation. Fans will still debate this decades from now, looking back to ask who was LeBron James when the pressure reached a boiling point. Garnett just provided a brutal, direct answer to that exact question. That is why this story is not going away anytime soon. This quote will resurface every single time LeBron's career highlights or lowlights get replayed. So, this is where the NBA world stands today. Kevin Garnett, zero filter, zero hesitation, just analyzed LeBron's legacy and shared exactly what he claims to see. Mentally dead when it matters. That claim is out in the open now, and there is no taking it back. Agree with him or not? Think he crossed a line or hit the bullseye? The reality is quite simple. When a superstar of Garnett's stature speaks with that much conviction, the words do not just vanish. They haunt the conversation, and they are staying right here. Here is where the pressure truly intensifies, because this is no longer just about what KG said on record. It is about what unfolds every single time LeBron James steps back onto that hardwood floor. Moving forward, every clutch play, every high-stakes possession, and every tight playoff battle will be scrutinized through a completely new and incredibly unforgiving lens. Fans aren't just tuning in to see if LeBron wins. They are watching to see if KG was actually right. That is a far harsher spotlight. Because now, it is not just about the outcome. It is about how that play actually looks. Is he being aggressive or holding back? Is he taking command of the court or just deferring to teammates again? Every split-second decision will be picked apart by the world in real time. That pressure is permanent. The cameras never stop rolling. The highlight reels are constant. In today's game, a single mistake can be replayed 1,000 times across the globe within minutes. So, if there is even a trace of hesitation, one slight retreat instead of a drive, it is going viral in an instant. That is the reality now. But here is what makes this situation even more intense. LeBron James has nothing left to prove when it comes to his on-court success. The rings, the records, and that incredible longevity are already set in stone. This is no longer about building a legacy. It is about protecting it. Because when a bomb like this enters the narrative so late in a career, it sticks in a different way. It does not get buried under talk of future potential or next season's possibilities. Every play now feels like evidence either proving or debunking what Garnett said. And honestly, LeBron has silenced his critics before. He has had massive games and entire playoff series where he dominated the court and shut down all the noise. But this feels completely different because the criticism is not coming from some random outside noise. This comes from an insider, a player who knows exactly what those high-pressure moments demand from a superstar. That is why it hits so much heavier. Now imagine this. Game on the line, the crowd roaring, and the clock ticking down. LeBron has the rock. Before, that moment was just about the final score. Now, it is about the narrative. If he drives and finishes, people will shout that is exactly the mindset KG was talking about. But if he kicks it out and the shot misses, you already know what the social media storm will be. That is how razor-thin the margin is now. It might not be fair, but it is real. Once a narrative like this takes hold, it does not need constant proof. It just needs a few moments that look like confirmation. That is why this situation is so tricky. LeBron James is no longer just competing against the opposing team. He is fighting an idea now firmly stuck in the public mind, a question about something far deeper than basketball skill. It is harder to measure and even harder to defend. The only way to respond is not through press conferences, statements, or social media posts. It is through moments. Real, undeniable, high-pressure moments where there is zero room for interpretation. Because in the end, that is the only thing that can shift this entire conversation back. Until then, every game adds another layer to the drama. Whether fans admit it or not, they are all watching closer than ever. And now, it all comes down to this. At the end of the day, no heated debate or viral clip can ever truly define a legend like LeBron James. but it can warp how fans remember him. That is why this moment feels heavy. Kevin Garnett didn't just throw out a stray thought. He buried a question in the heads of every fan, analyst, and even fellow NBA veterans. And once a doubt like that takes root, it stays there, it lingers in the air. Every highlight, every airball, and every single big-time performance now gets filtered through that specific lens. Whether you admit it or not, the entire narrative around him just shifted. See, legacy isn't just about the stats. It is built on how people feel when you're under those bright, high-pressure lights. And that is exactly where things get messy. LeBron's career is easily one of the greatest stories ever witnessed. No debate there. But when the talk shifts from raw greatness to how he handles the pressure, things get way more personal and way more intense. And now, thanks to Kevin Garnett, that noise is louder than it has ever been. Some will reject the idea entirely. Others are going to lean all the way into it. And plenty of people are sitting right in the middle, watching closely, waiting for one last defining moment to finally decide. Because that is the real focus now, that next play. That next clutch, game-winning shot, the next playoff run, the next time everything is on the line, that is where this narrative either sticks or dies. And the wild part? We are all going to be watching it unfold in real time. Every single possession and every decision carries more weight now. That is the true impact of what Kevin Garnett said. It didn't just challenge King James, it challenged every single conversation surrounding his legacy. So, whether you side with Kevin or think he crossed a line, one thing is obvious. This debate isn't going anywhere. It is locked in. Until LeBron silences the doubters with undeniable clutch moments, this debate is going to keep running. That is just the cold reality of the NBA world today. Now, I want your take. Was Kevin Garnett speaking facts, or did he completely miss the mark this time? Does this shift how you view LeBron in the clutch, or does his massive resume already speak for itself? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button for us. Hit subscribe so you don't miss our next video, and share this with anyone who loves a good basketball debate. Stay locked in, because this conversation is far from over. I will see you in the next one.